episode of Nonstop Nikhil. My assumption was that this was going to be a very direct, boring bus ride, so there was going to be no reason for me to even share this part of my journey with you. I thought I was going to start this episode right this afternoon when I'd arrive in Beira, but nothing is so simple, I'm realizing, here in Mozambique. Even this bus ride, which for all intents and purposes was marketed as a non-stop bus to Beira. Well, what are we doing right now? We're stopping. And I tried yesterday when I approached the bus in the station and got a ticket. I tried to use every descriptor possible to make sure that this bus is one get on, and at the scheduled time it departs. You go straight to Beira, you get off in Beira, and that's it. Like, a bus works. I checked for the word express. The word express exists. I asked for directamente, which I assume if I just directamente maybe? Direct? Yes, they said direct. I also clarified again. I was like, sin pareja, without stops? They said yes, no stops. And again, what are we doing here? We're stopping. And this is just the one town right outside of Vilankulos. The next town, we're stopping. And I don't know if this is just how it's going to be. Every town, it just keeps stopping. In which case, it's basically then a shoppa. So I just actually went to ask the people driving the bus and the person who I bought the ticket from whether this is going to be a regular stop at every city. He said that after 10 minutes stop here, we will go directly to Beira, and we should reach Beira by 11. So I'm going to hold him to that because he's not Google Maps. He knows the context, he knows the conditions, and he knows, more importantly, how this bus system operates. So with that in mind, I'm holding him to it. So we just passed the town of Save, crossed over a river. There's a really big infrastructure project going on there. A huge bridge over a very small body of water. A ton of Chinese workers working there. And it's incredible. I think in the US we really have no idea the scale of Chinese investment in more forgotten places in the world, like Mozambique and all over Africa. And now, as you can tell, we've hit a bit of a tough patch of road. It's more potholes than flat road at this moment, but on this road, it's mostly just really large vehicles trying to get by. Big buses like ours, huge freight trucks and the like. But it looks like the road is mostly potholes, and then the potholes have been filled with rainwater from the rains this week, and overall it isn't looking very good. So whenever we get a bit of flat road, we try to make up for lost time and go a little faster there. And the road is actually pretty narrow, so there are these larger vehicles, they're both going in both directions, and so one needs to give way to the other. And it's a bit of a bumpy ride at the moment, but we're really out in the middle of nowhere right now. Every now and then there are a couple small sites. I've been warned that Vilankulos is pretty much as far north as you can go without encountering really, really bad infrastructure. Everyone says that people will be happy to take you, but the infrastructure might be telling us a different story. So that's at least the first introduction to real Mozambique, and that's why I wanted to do it as a road trip. If you just stay in Maputo, you're not seeing what's representative of the rest of the country. Maputo is pretty much like anywhere else in the world, but you leave the capital cities in many countries and the situation completely changes. Here you not only have the bad infrastructure, but then as we keep continuing north, you get into the rebel territory, and then when you hit all the way to the northern parts of Cabo Delgado province, where we'll be going hopefully this week, you'll find even the issue of militancy, and that's been something that I've been warned about. But right now, the only problem we have is the bad infrastructure, so I'll take it. Just past 1 p.m. I don't think we're anywhere close to reaching Beira yet. I don't know what he was thinking when he said that we'd be there by 11, because I even knew that that was not possible at all. Condition of the road, It just depends on where you're at. Sometimes it's like terrible. We just passed a really bad stretch here. And then other times it's fine and you can zoom past traffic. But at this point, I don't know. I guess I can hope to be there maybe by like 3 p.m. And that's being kind of optimistic. 3 p.m. Get in, check into my hotel. Luckily, I kind of like splurged for a nicer place this time because I felt like I deserved it after spending like $10 so far each per night on all my stays here in Mozambique. I think I'm ready for something that feels a little more homely. And of course I need something to eat. I haven't eaten all day. But right now it's gotten so hot too. So the heat is adding to the mix. Usually in the mornings it's fine, it's nice and it's like cool air like wafting into the bus. But now it's just like sunlight and it's like hot air and you're sweating and it's just like everything all at once. Oh well, okay, this is the authentic Mozambican experience. Still stopped in this town and there's literally like a whole farm being loaded onto this bus. It's like a dozen chickens and like maybe like a half dozen goats or sheep or something like that. Hopefully my backpack is not sitting next to the farm animals because that won't be fun for all my clothes. I could literally cry tears of joy when I saw that we were merging onto the highway for this last leg of our trip before arriving in Beira. And I have a feeling that perhaps we could have merged onto the highway a long time ago, but the bus drivers choose not to do that so they can travel on the smaller roads where they can drop off more passengers, pick more passengers up, and therefore earn more money over the course of their drive. So altogether, I'm expecting, time is about 3 p.m. right now, I'm expecting we should be in Beira at least before 4 p.m. And they finally decided to turn on the air conditioning. I mean, this can actually be a really, really comfortable ride if you're always staying on the highway and if they have the air conditioning on. I have no complaints at that moment. It's just past 5 p.m., much later than any of us expected our arrival to be. But fortunately, I just made it to Beira. I also cannot tell you anything about this city because a lot of the stops here are not intentional. They're just stops that I figured would be along the way for me to make my way from Maputo to Pemba. So they're kind of arbitrary large cities that I figured would have accommodations and restaurants and all the like. But 2 notes about where we've arrived. The first thing is the plus side. The plus side is that they dropped me off very close to Praça de Liberdade, which is right across the street from my hotel. The downside is that since they didn't actually drop us off at the bus terminal, I don't actually know where to reserve the bus for tomorrow. So that's something I'll have to check with the hotel and figure out if I can get to Nampula tomorrow, or if not, at least get to Wilimani tomorrow. We'll see. But I think my hotel is just across the street. When I saw that they were dropping us off right at the main circle here, I figured it would be a really chaotic place to stop. I wondered how the bus would exactly stop here, but it looks like chaos is just the rule. There are people with there are vendors out here. There's so many different forms of transportation. People are just walking around, and I guess I'm doing the same. Seeing a bunch of other hotels. But in general, it's a very small town, but a small town is nothing in Mozambique if it doesn't have a KFC. Like, that's one thing you'll notice. There'll be like nothing else you recognize from home in Mozambique, but you'll randomly, even in the smallest of towns, find a KFC. So whatever franchise work is going on with KFC here in Mozambique, it's definitely working. So I mentioned earlier that I splurged for a hotel today, and I'm so glad I did. That's exactly what I needed after spending so many days just on a bus. Today, from like 5 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. That's 12 hours on a bus to get here from Vilankulos. So right now, I'm with new friend. What's your name?
Batista.
Batista.
Yeah.
Batista from Uzair Hotel. And he's helping me to reserve my ticket to Nampula tomorrow. So let's see how we can do that. I'm finally at a restaurant here in Beira. I will not say I'm satisfied because I haven't been served food or anything yet, but apart from just being hungry, I've just been overwhelmed by exactly how I'm going to get to Pemba. As I need to reach Pemba by the 24th because that's where I have my flight to my next destination. However, it's also coinciding with one of the most busiest times for travel, not only here in Mozambique, but around the world. I'm here in Beira. Beira is almost halfway in between Maputo in the south and Pemba in the north. I came to Beira with the hopes that I could find a bus tomorrow morning to cover the huge chunk of distance between here and Nampula, which will take me pretty safely into northern Mozambique. However, went to multiple transportation companies. None of them have tickets available for tomorrow morning to Nampula. We will hopefully tomorrow morning be able to book tickets for the 21st to Nampula, and that's my last chance. If I cannot get to Nampula on the 21st on the bus, then I'll have to book an airline ticket. There is a direct flight from Beira to Nampula on the evening of the 21st. That will get me there the night of the 21st, and then the 22nd, I can spend it trying to make sure I am in Pemba in time for my flight on the 24th. There's plenty in that area I would love to check out, but my main priority is to ensure that I have the transportation reserved to get to Pemba on the 24th. The problem, however, is that you cannot reserve anything in advance. You cannot call and reserve. You can absolutely not reserve anything on the internet. You just have to make sure you're at the ticket counter in that particular city on that particular night before you plan to travel. So